Hey, everybody. I decided to pop in on this holiday weekend because I got to get through this book, okay? I don't even remember when I started the book. I would have to go back to my first video on the book club, but I'm finally on rule number 8, okay? So, rule number 8, and this is book club today. 8 Rules of Love by Shetty. Okay. So, how to find it, keep it, and let it go. So, it's like a little blueprint that tells you how you can perhaps find love, how you can, once you find it, keep it. And there are some times where you just simply have to let it go. So thank you guys, all of y'all that are joining me this Saturday on this holiday weekend for book club. I always like to get us in the mood and play a little music. So as I bring the two people I have backstage right now, I'm going to play this song so y'all can just kind of get in the mood, okay? So hold on one second. Let me hit this.
Hey, Diva.
Okay. Oh, hey, everybody. Hey, Robin. I got a mod out there.
Get the music there. Good music right there.
All right, guys. So I kind of like to get us in the mood there when we start out with this book club and just play a little music. I see y'all all out there. Happy Saturday. I'm glad that you're joining me for the book club, okay? So this is 8 Rules of Love by Shetty. I am going to give away a book today. I got to figure out how I'm going to do it, but we will be giving away a fresh, clean, new copy of this book. Not my copy that I marked up, bent up, and wrote all over. All right. So we'll get into rule 8 in 1 second. I always like to start out by going to Jay Shetty's, let me see, Instagram here, because he's a good person to follow, just very positive, always has great things to say. So if you ever need any positivity in your life, jump on his Instagram and check it out. So I love this quote he has here. He says, start practicing seeing people as they actually are, not how you want them to be. Okay, that's a good one. Here's another one. It can be easy to think that we live in a harsh, cold world, but there's actually a lot of beautiful energy out there, and we can all be a part of helping it spread. Okay, so listen, there's good people out there. You just got to find them, and you can start with yourself by being one. Okay, so it says here, if you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war with inside yourself. That right there is a word in and of itself. Okay. You start conflict within yourself. And a lot of people say that's how, you make yourself sick. But now let's listen to this.
Sleeping in the same bed as someone does not make you close to someone. Living in the same house as someone does not make you close to someone. The only thing that makes you feel close to someone is when you feel you can be open and when you feel seen, heard, and understood in your most vulnerable, darkest, and open times. If you can do that, everything else is going to work. But if you can't do that, you can't just make it happen in a moment because you're meant to be together. Sleeping in the
Whew, did y'all catch that? Did you
I
catch
got it. I
good
got it.
words? Now let's look at this one. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect in every way. The next time you experience intrusive thoughts, I don't know if I'm good enough, all I do is fail, things never work out for me, choose to show yourself grace instead. Okay. We beat up on ourselves a lot. Forget about the other people. We beat up on ourselves a lot. Okay.
Here are 3 green flags in a relationship. The first is someone who challenges you without criticizing you. They make you want to be better without telling you that you're not doing well. The second one is they're kind to each and every person around you, but you as well. Often we think that if someone's kind to everyone, they'll be kind to us, but that's not necessarily the case. You have to look at how someone actually treats you versus just the people around you. And number 3, the green flag that probably stands out the most is this person present when they're with you? Are they curious about you? Do they want to learn about you? And are they able to be vulnerable and open about their own journey as well? That last one is going to make sure that you consistently do that for the rest of the years you spend together. Here are 3 green flags.
So I like that, right? Because we always talk about the red flags, but
Let's talk
he's
about the
showing
green flags.
you, right, right. He's
you
showing
gotta talk.
you.
You gotta talk about the. I'm sorry to interrupt you, David, but
Mm,
you gotta talk about the good times, as well as the bad times. But some people don't want to. A lot of people don't talk about the good times. They just talk about the bad times, and that's not a good thing, in my opinion, David.
mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with you. So I like that because that's the first time I heard about green flags. We always say, "Oh, it was a red flag. You knew where you was headed. You knew where you was going. You had to have seen this trait in that person that you was with way before this moment right now." But he's telling you there's some green flags you should look out for. And when you see those green flags, that's an indication that hey, this is probably going to work, and this is probably how your life is going to be. The more years that you're spent together. So let me tell you about part 4, which is the last rule of this book. It says connection, learning to love everyone. Okay. So it says that you got to pretty much learn how to love everyone. Is when we extend our love to each and every person in every area of our life. In this stage, our love becomes boundless. We realize we can experience love at any time with anyone. Okay. We feel compassion for all living entities. All of these stages can be lived simultaneously, but this fourth stage is the highest expression of love. When we just learn to just love everybody around us, we live a better existence, right? It says love again and again, rule 8. The river that flows in you also flows in me. So it's almost like the circle of life, so to speak, right? And of course, I can't go through every single thing in the book, but I want to say this: we are connected and we serve others, we are serving ourselves. Okay. So when we serve others, we're serving ourselves. So you know how it says, is Diva, the IG is still playing? Is my IG still playing?
No, I don't hear it.
Oh, okay. Somebody's saying that it's still playing, and Q said our audio's odd. Okay. All right. So we're okay. Okay. Maybe something's going on with her internet, and maybe she could get back in. But it says we are connected, and when we serve others, we are serving ourselves. It's kind of like this circle of life, right? So it's like when you're good to other people, it usually comes back around to you. So let me say this also. It says expecting love versus expressing love. When your focus is on receiving love, you'll probably experience less love. But when your focus is on giving love, you'll probably experience more love. So instead of expecting love, we have to find ways of expressing love, and then love will come back to us. What are your thoughts on that, Dustin? And who in your life are you the most closest to?
I'm closest to my friends, and that's one of them is you, Diva. You might not know it, but I'm very close to you, very close to my friends. I'm very close to my I'm very close to my friends, and I'm very close to my grandmother.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay, wonderful. So they also what he talks about in this book is that sometimes we have people in our lives that we really love and we're so close to, but we don't express it to them often enough. So he challenges us to think about all the people that we love in our life and that we are really close to, and then he said let those individuals know how you feel and how close you are to them, and what do what you think about them, and how much they mean to you in your life. So
I hope you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I hope you know how much you mean to me as a friend, and I love you very deeply.
oh, Dustin, listen, let me tell you something. I love you back, and I always am so glad and happy to see you when you do pop in on my lives. And one thing I know for sure, if nobody else is going to be backstage, Dustin, I know that you're going to show up, and I appreciate and love you back. So yes, thank you for always being here and always supporting me and my channel. I totally, totally appreciate you. Right.
You're welcome.
So thank you. So it says
Hmm.
how to give love. In the fourth stage of life, we come to the point where we're not just looking for love in one person anymore. This may be because we find ourselves without a partner, or maybe or we may be happy with our partner and feeling like we now have enough love to expand it. You've been a student of love, and now you are a steward of love. Okay. So he says the principles in which we should think about love, if we have the capacity and opportunity to look beyond our own needs, then we should do so. You have been striving to fulfill your own purpose. Perhaps you've been striving to fulfill the goals of a partner in children. Now you can set the goal of service. If you have a partner, you deepen your love for each other by doing this together. Embarking on these efforts prematurely leads to arguments and misunderstandings. By the time you start thinking about ways to serve others together, your community, the world, you need to deeply understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. Once we understand that in ourselves and others, collaboration becomes more easy, and we can extend the compassion to everyone. So what he's saying here is that, you know what, don't try to extend yourself too much if you're not ready. So if you haven't experienced a greater or higher level of love with a partner, if that's what you want, then it's going to be
Hmm.
hard for you to go out and say, oh, I want to give love to everybody else, when you don't even have all the love that you need yourself, so to speak. So
I agree with that.
right, give yourself the opportunity to find out and figure that out for yourself. And it
Hmm.
says, he also said, love those closest to you. We first expand our circle of love to those who are easiest to love. We can show love to our friends and family not just through what we say or do. Behind those acts are four key qualities, and we're going to talk about those. It's understanding, belief, acceptance, and appreciation. So hold on one second. Let me hey, in my opinion,
Hey Diva, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Happy Saturday. Hey, Q. So finally I am on the eighth rule here. So I'm so glad to be getting through this eighth rule. You look beautiful today, Q. Um, so hopefully I will also figure out a way to give out, no problem, to give out this book. In my opinion, you're probably gonna have to help me to figure out who we could give this book away to, because I do need to give the book away today, right? So
Okay.
with the eighth group, it says love again and again, right? So one of the things he said you have to kind of think about is understanding. Understanding is all of us want to be understood. To love your nearest and dearest is to try to understand who they are and what they are trying to achieve. We do this by listening and asking questions rather than pushing our ideas or agendas. So it's important for us to understand. And again, this is not just with a significant other, right? It's with coworkers, it's with your friends, it's with all of us. A lot of times I think too, like, when we having trending topics or we're having any other discussions, a lot of times we get so heated in the moment because none of us are really understanding each other. And
Yes,
I
we
think
do.
if we
We get
understand
really heated.
we probably realize we're all on the same page. We're just kind of saying it in a different way. So I like the fact that he said, you got to understand your partner. You got to understand your girlfriends. You got to understand your friends. Because understanding is like the foundation, and y'all don't always have to agree, but understanding the person is very important. So I'll go to you first, in my opinion. What are your thoughts about just the concept of understanding?
Well, see, a lot of people don't understand that they have to listen to understand. And so the good thing about this book was I think he laid these rules out perfectly in every chapter. So if
Yeah.
you actually went through all the books and if you actually went through all the exercises, it actually taught you how to understand people. It taught you how to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like all the little assignments and stuff that did built you up to the point where you can open up yourself to understand that, hey, you have to listen to everybody else's. You don't have to agree, but you have to understand it all in order to make it function. And this goes really well with if you've done talking about families or friends. Not it doesn't have to be a romantic partner, but
Right.
this works both ways. Like you just have to listen. Like you don't always have to agree that thing is right or this person is right, but you do have to understand where they're coming from. You have to understand their point of view and actually listen to them. And sometimes I think we forget to listen to each other. You know what I'm saying? I think we want to be right so bad that we don't take the time to actually hear what the other person is saying.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Q, what do you think about what he's saying about understanding? Like you have to listen to understand a person um in order to even have a foundation of getting along and having a good relationship with them.
What it makes me think about is the importance of assuming good intentions,
Mm,
especially if we're talking about somebody that you've got history with and you know this person has been loyal and true. And for the most part, they've not done anything to really hurt you,
right.
at least not intentionally. So it's so easy, though, in our minds to assume the worst, and you've got figured out in your mind, well, if they say this, I already know I'm gonna say this, and
Yep.
they better not say this because if they do, I already know, I'm ready.
Yep.
I wish they would, versus listening to them from a place of assuming good intentions. And we do it all the time, like if you had to meet somebody at a certain time for something important, if you are running late, you think to yourself, um, let me text them so they know that is the traffic, like I'm doing my best, I'm trying to get there on time. But if we are the one waiting for the person, we're thinking, they're late, they could have at least like called. I mean, they probably left the house late, they really need to be on time. We're not thinking sometime, most of the time, about the fact that maybe something came up for them, maybe they got a traffic situation, so I
Right.
just like to assume that they're coming from a good place and that there's some information I don't have yet. And the conversation is going to help me get what I need to get before I, make a decision.
Yeah, I like that. Dustin, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is I agree with everything that anybody saying, but I I keep a very when stuff happens like this, very I'm very understanding. And so now somebody's late, I'm very if they tell me what happened, I'm very understanding about it. So yeah, I agree with everybody's saying, and that's what I was gonna say, Diva.
Okay, thank you. That's good that you're very understanding. The next one he said is belief. Our friends and family want us to believe in them. This means believing that they have the potential to achieve their dreams. When someone you love shares an idea, give positive feedback, be supportive and encouraging. A lot of times I think people, they discourage you is not all out of meanness. Some of them are discouraging you because they tried it didn't work for them, they felt hurt and disappointed by it. So they think that they're saving you from the same hurt and disappointment. So I learned to come to the conclusion that everything someone's trying to warn me about is not because they want to be mean or they're being negative about the situation. Some of them think that they're saving me because they went the same path and it didn't work out for them. So I try to like see the angle that they're coming from before I just automatically think they're just hating or being negative or whatever. Some of them might be like, okay, I understand you tried it, but I'm gonna just go ahead and try it too and see if it works out for me. So I'll start with you this time, Q. What do you think about this belief and the idea that he's trying to say, be positive? And I get that too, because sometimes we will become off being negative even though we don't mean to be.
Mm-hmm. I also want to say everything is not for everybody to know too. I'm a very private person, so I'm very particular about even telling somebody what my moves are, what I'm thinking about doing anyway. I feel like people have to earn that first of all. So be mindful of who you're telling stuff. I also strongly believe that some people are committed to misunderstanding you. So it doesn't matter what you say. There is no other way for you to explain it. There is no other way that you could have said it. They are not going to agree with you. They're not going to support you for real. And I may be coming across really negative right now, but I'm just saying it to say my experience has been that I have learned that there are a very small circle of people that even gets for that type of information about my life, and I'm really blessed to have girlfriends who are like sisters and are really positive. Sometimes what I'll do though, because I don't want to be negative when people are sharing an idea, but we all have certain people in our family, or they may be friends, they're sharing something and they're really hype about it, but there's like no, it's another one of their things. So I like to maybe ask questions like, oh, so what have you been working on around that? Or, oh, that sounds amazing. Like, what are you going to be doing next? Or, who else can you learn from with that? Like asking questions, because I also would want people to do that for me, to point me in the right direction.
Right. Now I understand. You know what hit me really that you said is sometimes it pretty much it's not going to matter what you say because they're not trying to understand you.
No.
That hit me on the side right there. And that's facts. That's facts. And it's sad, but you are correct. Like you can redirect the conversation in several other ways and they're still going to be like, no, pretty much, because that's not what they want to hear.
No.
Yeah. Woo and wow. In my opinion, what do you think about this belief portion that Jay Shetty talked about?
Well, first, let me say, Q, you spoke a word there because I was with you. Another thing is, in order to believe in somebody, you have to love somebody. And you have to trust them.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we open up to people and we think that they're trustworthy without them showing us that they're trustworthy.
That's facts.
Or we'll give you something and think that you for us when you're against us.
Ooh.
So here's my thing. I told you this book changed me. When I did this book with my husband, we had a newfound love for each other during these rules, doing the activities in these books. And we found a new trust for each other. And not that we're saying we didn't trust each other before, but it's something freeing about knowing that when we wrote letters to each other, that our feelings were pretty much the same. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have like a big, huge disagreement on our, where we thought our relationship was going, or how we were feeling about each other.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that made me feel better. So let me tell you what I did, Diva. I did this. I did the things with my sons too. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and let me tell you, I was sitting here boohooing because when my sons read those letters to me, they wanted me to know that all the stuff that I went through when I was, when I was raising them, they
Mm-hmm.
understood and they appreciated it and they loved me even more for being there for them. And sometimes I think I don't give myself enough credit. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing, somebody takes and appreciates it, and especially from our kids, because sometimes our kids don't know how to say thank you. So you be like, "Boy, I done did all this for you."
Okay.
And you be thinking about all the struggles and sacrifice you had to put on the back end. But let me tell you, them kids had me over here booing. So
Oh,
now I'm learning to believe in myself even more, and trust in me that I'm doing the right things, because sometimes I forget to trust in myself.
hmm.
Mm.
That's a good word, in my opinion. You know what? I will say this. It's like I learned the lesson, then I forget the lesson really quickly. Like I'm learning a lesson of like I do trust too easy, but I like what you just said. Like, you gotta wait and make sure that person really loves you and cares about you before you start opening up with all of this information, and the information is so private and sensitive to you, and they'll take it and do whatever with it because they don't even care about you like that. I'm very guilty of that. Like I feel a connection with the person, and I'm not talking about like even a romantic. I'm talking about just friendships. I'm thinking like I made a connection and a friendship with this person. I gave a lot of my information, and then I see them kind of throwing it back and using it, in a not so nice way with me. So you are right. Like I gotta learn how to hold back, because once I feel comfortable, I'll be like, "Duh, duh, 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 duh," like, but you do have to be careful with the information that you share with others.
Right.
Um, yeah, because it's your life and it's personal to you, but they'll do whatever with it. So yeah, it's a lot, but I do get the general thing of what he's saying is I think like don't kill anybody's dream, right? Um, and I'm very mindful of that. So, but I also connect with you, Q, because sometimes you have people they come to you with 50 ideas and they have done nothing on not a one of them, right? It's like, okay, well, when you gonna, you're not being negative, but you want to ask them like, when are you gonna take action on something that you have come to me with? Like I have another friend, like, she was like, oh, help me start a YouTube channel. I gave her all the information. Like, okay, the only thing left for me to do is come to your house and like, do the video. I don't know what, like, come on, like, you know what I mean? It's like you
Well, what
can't,
you do?
right?
What
You
she want
can't.
you? She
Go
wanted
ahead.
you to go to her house. She wanted you to go to her house and do the video for her, basically.
I mean,
So,
I can't, like, you know what I mean? It's like, but so much, like, I gave you everything I could give you. At some point, you do have to take some action, right?
yeah, you got to
Um,
do it yourself.
yeah, you got to take some action. So, Dustin, what do you believe on this concept of belief? And pretty much like if you got a friend that is coming to you, saying like, this is what I want to do, this is my dream, this is, what Jay Shetty is pretty much saying is give them some positive feedback, right?
Well, I support all my friends of what they want to do, but I said this before, Dave. Uh, I have had a friend hurt me. It still hurts me to this day.
Mm,
So I'm very careful of what I do and what I say, because you never know what it's gonna be. What? Because once I don't agree with you, then they do whatever they basically gonna do whatever they want to do anyway.
right.
Anyway, so I give them my part. And if they don't want to follow follow their uh, dreams, I support it, anything they do, anything they want to do. But I sometimes I have to take a step back.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Before I go into, thank you, Dustin. Before I go into the other one, which is acceptance, I want to show a little bit more of Jay Shetty's Instagram, who y'all
Keep
know
going, Q, if you don't
I love.
want to answer. Keep
Yeah.
going.
So this, you got to catch this, right? It says some people hold you down and some people hold you down. Okay. So
Mm,
what he's saying there
Um,
is some people really hold you down.
Now that's a word now.
They what? Ain't that a word? They your day one. They your people. They there for you, whatever the case may be. And then he said, some people hold you down. Like some people really hold you back from your dreams, your aspirations, and everything that you're trying to do and you want to do, right? And he said, there's a difference between giving up and knowing when you had enough. Okay, so
mm,
you gotta
mhm.
know the difference there, right? And I love this message from this young lady. So hold on, let's listen to this.
How do I feel with this person? That is the most important question you can ask. And if you feel you enjoy their company, you feel heard, you feel understood, you feel safe, you're having fun, you're not settling. How do I feel with this person? That is the most important.
So settling is probably the worst thing you could ever do in your
Mm.
life. And she's
yeah,
giving you tips to let you know if you have fun with them, you feel safe with them, you're not settling. It's probably a good fit and a good match for you, right? So this one says if you had the chance to make people happy, just do it. Sometimes people are struggling silently. Maybe your act of kindness can make their day. I took a class one time and just about, living a good life and happiness and all of that. And the guy that was training the class, he said, you ever walk past somebody and you just smile and they end up smiling back? He said, do you see how simple that was? Like, you didn't do anything, you didn't give anything, was no money, you didn't exchange words, you smiled and the person smiled back. So he said, when you walk around and you're in the mall, you're shopping or whatever, he said, just smile at somebody and see how you never know how that can just change their day, right? So this one said, someone said, not everyone has access to me because I want peace more than
Mhm.
attention. Okay. Said, I felt that. So, and this one, this is a good thing. He said, answer the following questions. Who's the most caring person in your life? Who's the most consistent person in your life? Who's the most inspiring person in your life? He said, now go tell them.
Mm.
So a lot of times we have these individuals in our life that we really care about, and we kind of assume they just know, but they don't know. And maybe you should tell somebody, you know what, you really inspire me. I really like you, or you really help me, or so forth and so on, right? And so this is another video I wanted to play. So hold on, let's listen to this really quickly.
If you feel overwhelmed when you get up in the morning, try these two things. Number one, stop looking at your phone as the first thing you do. When you open up your apps and start looking at your notifications, it's like you're letting all of this information come at you all at the same time. You'd never let 100 people walk into your bedroom first thing in the morning, but we let 100 messages walk into the bedroom of our mind. Instead of this, try step two. Ask yourself a question that you answer first thing in the morning. What am I grateful for today? What am I excited for today? How am I going to make today a great day? You might even put this on a little post-it note next to your bed so that it reminds you and triggers the question. If you
I agree
How
with
many
that, dude.
of us, right? How
I
many
agree.
of us grab that cell phone as soon as we can wake up before we brush our teeth, wash our face, or anything, right?
I do.
So now I have, because I read, there was another inspirational book that I read, and now what I do when I get up, if I don't, either I say thank you, like thank you God for waking me up. It's something with a thank you, and then I also at some point first thing in the morning. May not be the exact first thing I do, but I write on a paper, a pen. Like I just named 10 things that I'm grateful for. A lot of times I'm writing the same stuff over and over again. Like I'm grateful for my home, I'm grateful for my car, I'm grateful for my son, I'm grateful for my family. It's the same stuff over and over again. But just to have that attitude of gratitude and starting your day like that, it really changes the course of your day, right? That's at least what I found. So let me go to number three. He said acceptance, right? Our friends and family want to be accepted and loved just the way they are, for who they are, with all their flaws and differences. we don't project our expectations of what they should do or how they should act onto them, right? So he's pretty much saying, like, listen, accept people how they are. You give people a whole lot of anxiety when you're like, oh, change your hair. You're too fat. You're too skinny. Why'd you eat that? What are you doing? It's like too much. It's like, can't you let
Mhm.
me be and just love me how I am? Because you're just giving me all of this energy that I don't need when you're constantly saying like, I mean, it's almost to a point where is there anything I could do right? Like, why do you want to be around me? Like, so don't stress your people out. They are who they are. Let them be who they are,
Mhm.
especially if it's not harming them or anyone else. So, Dustin, I'll start with you. What do you think about his thing where he's saying acceptance? Just accept people for who they are and how they are.
Well, I agree with that, David. You have to accept people for how they are. You can't change. You can't try to change everybody because it doesn't make it worse. So it's better to just accept you how you are and to try to not change anybody.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Dustin. In my opinion, what do you think about that? What he said about acceptance? Just accept people for who they are.
Well, that's the truth. Hey, hey, you have to accept people for who they are for a certain reason. Hold on.
Q, while we're waiting for in my opinion, what do you think about this acceptance piece?
It definitely takes some maturing on our part. And I'm sure that there are people you can think about in your life where it's easier to do than with certain other people.
Mm-hmm.
But just like I mentioned before, assuming the best, sometimes I have to ask myself, okay, what else might this person be trying to say? For example, my mom and I, we have an okay relationship. It's not a bad relationship, but you know how people are best friends with their mom and stuff like
Right.
that. That's not my situation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes she says stuff like the way she communicates, and it can be a bit harsh. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have learned to be like, okay, maybe she is just saying, she's saying this because she cares about this thing over here, which means that she cares about me. So she just doesn't know how to necessarily communicate that
Mm-hmm.
because that's not, you know, the way she communicates.
Right.
But I don't try to change her. I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I used to say things like, you know, well, listen to the way that you sound, or like, why are you yelling, you know, or you could just say this, or you could just, you know, do it like that. And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I would end up being bothered. But I've just learned to not just with her, accept her for who she is and how she communicates and all that kind of stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
just assume that she's coming from a place of love. So again, to me, it's really, I'll say that forever. Like, just assume the best about people who you know love you, even if they're
Right.
difficult.
No, I agree with you because I have learned, my dad is 85. My
Mm.
mom, I always forget her age. She's 70 something. She's late 70s, but I come to the conclusion that they are who they are,
Hmm.
and that's the way they speak. And there's things my dad say, and now, but I had to grow to that place where
Yes.
now I'm just like, whatever, that's him. Like, you know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
I know that he loves me, but I used to do the same thing too. I'm like, Dad, like, you can't say that. Like, why are you saying that? Why are you saying this? What, like, did you hear what you just said? Like, or I hurt my feelings or whatever. But
Hmm.
now I'm at the point where I'm just like, all right, that's Dad, whatever. Like, like it doesn't get to me as much. And that's why I tell people that, and it goes on the concept of just loving people for who they are and how they are, right? I said there's no perfect parents, and I just said,
Hi, Leo.
hey Leo, I'm just like, if you can
Um,
learn to love that person how they are and understand that they did the best they could with the resources they had when they was raising you, I'm not gonna. You have your feelings, they have theirs, right? But that's what I learned about my whole life, is that I try to see the other side of it versus the side I don't like. And I don't even know if I'm explaining that right to people, but that's what I tried to do with this acceptance here. Like, I do try to accept them for who they are and what they are. And I will only really voice my opinion out if it's something that really stings me on the side. But if it doesn't, I'm just like, all right, whatever, and I just keep going. In my opinion, I don't know if you're ready, if you want to speak on this piece.
Okay, so I was saying acceptance is really good because first of all, in order to accept somebody, you have to really listen to them and you
Mm-hmm.
have to know them. And
Mm-hmm.
so, a really good quote that I heard a long time ago was, "No matter what happens, no matter what goes on, the sun will always rise again."
Mm.
And when I was hearing it when I was younger, I didn't understand it because my mom and them used to say all these things, and I'm like, I don't understand it.
Mhm.
Now I'm at my big age, I understand all those quotes that she taught me.
Mm.
And even though she's not here for me to say thank you to her, I know in some sense she knows that I'm thankful and grateful that she taught me these lessons. But I say that to say people sometimes project what they're feeling onto somebody else.
Yeah. Oh.
And we got to learn to stop projecting how we feel
Mm-hmm.
and accept what the person is trying to get us to understand. And so that was the reason why I said this book was so amazing because by the time you got through with all the exercises and you actually did them, you felt like you understood yourself a whole lot better. Like, I told you, Diva, me and my dad ain't had the best relationship. So I've been doing everything in my power to write him letters, to let him understand how I feel, to let him know when I really was hurting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't take away the things that he done for me because I was like, you've been an amazing father. You know what I'm saying? You took care of me. You gave me all the stuff that I needed, everything except for you didn't give me the love that I wanted.
Mm.
And so I feel like a lot of my bad relationship was because I was looking for somebody to love me instead of me loving myself.
Mm.
So when I met my husband and he was like, you ain't got to search for something that you already got. I
Wow.
didn't know how to take it.
Yeah.
So he taught me how to understand myself. And that's why I said I'm so grateful for where I am because where I was going, it wasn't pretty. You know what I'm saying? I ain't where I want to be, but let me tell you, I'm glad I ain't where I was. Okay. So we got to learn to stop projecting and accept people for who they are and what they are. And that don't mean you have to agree with it. You just have to accept it.
Right. Right. Oh, you said a lot. Thank you, in my opinion, for sharing. Leo, I'm gonna come to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. The panel, I have really enjoyed this conversation. I wasn't even going to come up because I'm like, I come up all the time, like, give other people time to come up.
Right.
But the acceptance part, especially with my parents as well, I came up in a generation. My father, I think, is 75, and I think my mother is like 70 or 71. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
show love. They
Mm.
thought showing love was that
Oh
you
my
got
God.
food, you got a
Yep.
house, the house is clean. We go to
You better say
service.
that, Leo.
Listen.
Yeah. So that is the type of generation I
Yep.
can't even remember as a child even being told I was loved. Right.
No, I've never heard the words, I'm proud of you. Never heard it. And the time I did hear it, it shouldn't have been for that thing.
Mm.
I
Oh
asked my
man,
mama,
but let me tell y'all something. My
yeah,
mama told me all the time she loved me, she was proud of me, but she had to tell me that because I had a complex because my daddy was like, "Oh, you f that up. You're not going to amount to nothing. These people gonna use you. This person." I mean, he always pointed out the negative. He never gave me a positive affirmation. And even when I told him I love him, he said, "Okay."
Mm.
he couldn't take it. He didn't have the emotional capacity. He didn't have the emotional bandwidth for that. He couldn't. He didn't know how.
Yeah.
And that's hard to deal with when you're the one who needed it. You know what I mean? We were the children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember at my college graduation, and Leo reminded me of this when she was talking about her generation of parents. And, you know, you're walking in, you're seeing people taking pictures with their family. And again, I had never heard the words, "I'm proud of you" before. And so I looked to my mama, and because my parents have been divorced since I was 2. But anyway, I said, "Mama, are you proud of me?" And she said, "Well, I'm here."
Mm.
And you know, she doesn't even remember that. I've since mentioned it's amazing the things that people don't remember like this. But Leo is so true. What she said, it's like that generation, many of them just struggle to express how they felt, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
Well, at
Yeah.
least in my situation, I figured out why my parents were the way that they were, because they were never parented. Like my father or my mother were never parented by parents. It's a
Mm.
long story of tragedy, but they found each other when they were really young, and the two of them was the only people that they had. They didn't have a mother. My mother didn't have a mother to go run to, or a father to go run to and say, "I'm out of this marriage, I'm getting ready to go." My father didn't have a mother and didn't have a father to go to and say, "Hey, I'm out of this marriage, it's over." They probably would have divorced several times, but they had no place to go. So they figured it out, and I appreciate that. But after years of turning my back on them in their relationship and went and did my whole life or whatever, I came to accept them as they were. And when I showed up, the process of accepting was not completed. I ran down the litany of this, and this, and this, and this. And of course, you know, my mother, she says, you know, I did the best that I could at the time. I thought I was doing what was right. And we weren't emotionally connected. But from that conversation, my mother hugs me, she kisses me. And this was like after I had turned 40. Like even my dad hugs me. We were able to repair that relationship. And I say that to say acceptance is the greatest gift you can give yourself for the people that you know that love you, but do not express it the way that they should have, but give them an opportunity to do so. And I wish my siblings would also give them the opportunity, because they still hold grudges.
Mm.
I moved past it, but
Right.
they have not been given, they have not allowed themselves to get that gift, and time is running out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give the opportunity. I had to learn that my parents are who they are. They
Mhm.
didn't get no book on raising kids. Nobody didn't raise them properly,
Mhm.
emotionally anyway. But I gotta accept it. It is, and it's still problems. Like I mean, I could put my mother on my credit card, and she's on my account with her name on a credit card account that I had, and this woman had the nerve, the unmitigated gall, to call me and say, "Well, look, you know the credit now, my name on your credit, and I just need to make sure you gonna pay your bills." I'm like, really? I'm looking at the phone while she is talking to me and telling me this nonsense, but I didn't say nothing.
Mm.
I didn't say nothing.
That's growth.
Uh-huh.
It is.
Ooh. Ooh.
It
But
is.
you know what I'm hoping, and
Oh.
again in time, what I'm hoping is that everyone will understand that our parents, they did the best they could. And this book tells you that everybody has a different definition of what love is. So, to your point, Q, your mom was like, I'm here. Like
Yeah.
of course I'm proud of you. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. That was her definition of what love is and what being proud is, right? And so we have to tell people how we feel love and what we recognize love to be, what we recognize, what we need. You can bring it to me, babe. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay. We gotta let people know, like, this is how I feel love. This is what I need. This is how I would know that you care about me and you feel about me, because they don't know.
But it
Right.
takes vulnerability, though, Diva, to be able to do that. And a lot of us,
You better
especially
say
if you're
that.
the strong friend in your group, or
Right.
don't get me started on the whole strong black woman thing, but you have to be willing to be vulnerable to tell somebody, when this happened, this is how it made me feel. I would like it if, when I tell you something about my day, you show, some interest. Or when this happened and you didn't even ask me how I felt,
Right.
it made me think that you didn't care. Like, you have
Right.
to be vulnerable to be able to do that, though. And I think, we get mixed up right there.
No, I'm connecting with you. I am connecting with you with that, right? And so this is a great conversation, because I think, as human beings, because this is all of us. I was about to say females, but I'll say as human beings, right? It's hard sometimes to be vulnerable. You don't want to go back to that pain. You don't want to feel that pain. But the way that we move forward and we get past certain things is by, opening up. But of course, the opening up has to be on our time, right? So Leo, you said you were ready, and you kind of like did that acceptance and almost forgave your parents, where your siblings have not, because they're not at that place yet, right? So we can never push a person to that place in time, but I hope out of this conversation and from this book by Jay Shetty, we all maybe can get on that road, so to speak, to, maybe at some point land at that place in time, because we never know the day, the minute, or the hour where we will no longer have the opportunity to even try to do that, right? um Especially, for me, like I said, my dad's 85, my mom is late 70s. To God be the glory that they're still here. And not just with my parents, just overall, I had to learn a lot of things about, like, letting go, um, of stuff that maybe have happened to me with people that I thought were friends, thought that was really close to me, because it really weighs a lot on your soul sometimes, especially when you sit back and think, like, wow, I really thought that person was my friend. Um, and you're hurt by that, and you just can't wrap your mind around how someone you thought was so close to you did that to you, and you would never go there with them. And that's
Mhm.
why, I promise, we like to say, I have arrived at this age, and I feel like I owe it to myself, where there's some things, even when people go there, I take the higher road for myself and be like, I ain't gonna go there with them. And even though, trust me, because that girl still live in me, where I want to get down with the get down. But the greater part of me, and where I have arrived to, tells me, don't worry, like, what they put out is going to come back to them. And I actually feel sorry for them, that energy is going to slap them back in the face one day. So that's the only thing that really saves me from a lot of retaliation and all of that, is because I have learned and I've been through so much, and I have seen, without me doing anything, people do reap what they sow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he talks in this book. You can't expect to put, if you put out hate is going to come back to you.
That's right.
If you put out love is going to come back to you.
That's right.
But when it comes to relationships and friendships, and even here on this channel, now I ain't saying I catch every moment, but when there's moments, because really for me, this is all like conversation and discussion. When there's moments where different panel members is about to really crash heads, I abort mission. I'm like, all right, I'm shutting this down. It's a wrap. It's over. Because I never want any panelists to go there like that, because I know that a lot of times we're all saying the same thing, but it gets so heated, nobody's hearing each other, and it's like, no, blah 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 blah, and I don't want it to go that road. So, and I try to practice that in life too. Like I tell like two friends, I'm like, you didn't hear what they were saying, they didn't hear what you were saying, but there's no need for us to be bickering and going on like it's not making sense right now, right? Let's choose the path of forgiveness, acceptance, and let's try to understand each other, because there's so much going on in the world already. Our little circle here doesn't need to be plucking at each other either. So yeah, but I do get like being vulnerable and letting down your guard is hard, especially when you feel like you're talking to a brick wall, so to speak, and like no matter what you say to the person, they're not getting it, or they're not ready to accept their role in the situation. Dustin, I did not get to you. What do you think about this acceptance piece?
I agree about it. I agree that everybody should be on the same page, especially when you're having a conversation sometimes.
Mhm.
So I agree with everything you said, David, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Justin. So let me just show a couple more things before I go to appreciation. Um, Let me present this screen again. And I think this is I think somebody kind of touched on this. Some people won't understand your words, while some won't even need your words to understand you. Listen, I say like Roy and I, we speak every morning, right? And sometimes we just cracking up because literally I won't even have to say words sometimes, and he totally understands me. That's like I feel like that's my YouTube son. But it's always amazing, like when you're with somebody who you don't like, they just know, they just get you, right? And you don't have to explain, that you didn't mean this or you didn't mean that. They just know. They're like, I know what you meant. Like it's okay, you said it wrong, but I know what you meant. I know what you was trying to say. Let's listen to this.
Whenever you give out any energy, love, hate, anger, kindness, you will always get it back, one way or another. Love is like a circle. Whatever love you give out, it always comes back to you. Whenever you give out any energy,
So I love that message, right? Because what you give out, it comes back to you. You give out bad, bad is going to come back to you. You give out good, it's going to come back to you. So I feel like you try your best to give out love, and it will definitely come back to you in some way, shape, or form. The fourth thing he talks about is appreciation. He said, we give love through appreciating the little and big things our friends and family do, the struggles they face, the efforts and changes they make, the energy they bring to the relationship. When we think that merely being present is showing enough appreciation, but I can't think of anyone who doesn't want to be told with specificity and sincerity what they have done well. Kind of feel like that's connected to a part that you said, Q. It's like you just want to hear like, are you proud of me? Do you love me? Something. It's like you need that cue, that situation that lets you know that, you know I don't know, that you love me, and that you're happy that I did this thing, or that I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing. Like, so it's just using your words to make sure people connect and understand how you truly feel. So I did a lot of training in my professional career, and they told you, like with teachers and with training, that everybody doesn't connect the same way. So when you're going to teach somebody, they said do a visual, actually say it, and there's some other things that they tell you to do, like use your hands or
Yeah.
whatever. And that way you're always going to connect to everybody in the room. So if I just say I love you, I may only connect to the people that need it verbally, right? But if I say I love you and I'm hugging people, then I connected to the people who need verbal, the people who need touch. If I have like a picture that kind of represents love, now I'm connecting also to those people that need a physical picture. Be like, oh, okay, that's what she's talking about. That's what she means. So when we're trying to connect with the people in our life that we really love, you got to hit on all of those cues. If you hit on all of those cues, one of them is going to land with that particular person to let them know, like, oh, you care. You may just need the words, but someone else may need the physical hug. You may just need the physical hug, but someone else may need the words. You may need this, that, and other, but somebody else may actually need a physical gift, and they like, wow, she really does love me, or he really does love me. So if you use all of those tools, you will probably definitely somehow connect to that person that you're trying to let them know how much you care. I'll start with you, Leo. What do you feel about that whole last piece, appreciation?
You know, appreciation for me has come through trial and tribulation that I have survived. And I could hold up the whole panel in time on things that I made it through by the grace of God. And I'm telling you, by his only grace.
Yeah.
So I have come to understand what I put out has come back to me. And I'm going to say this, it has come back to me like tenfold. Tenfold. I do believe in leading with love. I don't do it all the time. I don't do it as much as I should because the devil is always busy. But it is always on the forefront of my mind. And I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate everything that has happened to me. And I appreciate all the people. Because keep in mind, you may show your love or your gratitude or you're extending your love. It may not come back to you from the person you gave it to. You
That's
put it in
facts.
the universe and
Mm-hmm.
it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
It comes back through the universe. It comes back to you from another person or other people in other ways. I am so blessed and am so grateful for all my blessings. I am very immersed in that particular attitude right now at my 50-year-old big age with that now. I'm not a complainer.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing to be gained by complaining. All my
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends and the people around me, they always like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do next? And I am grateful and I am appreciative of the people around me that encourage me and support me. So
Yeah.
that thing of appreciation makes you see your life differently, right? See your
Mm-hmm.
life differently. In the situation you may be in, I'm in a situation right now, and I'm still appreciative and grateful for all the support that I have. And I have to recognize too that I am greatly loved, and I want people around who don't feel like they're loved. They need to think about all the things that have happened in their life that's unexpected gifts of love from strangers,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and be appreciative. The person that helped you push your car that broke down on the side of the road in the middle of traffic helped you push your car on the side of the road. There are always gifts to be appreciative of.
I love that. You are correct.
Mhm.
You are correct. Listen, sometimes the other day, but my son is home for the weekend now, but the other day I was walking out with my garbage to the dumpster, and my neighbor was like, "Oh, I'll take it for you." I said, "I'll walk." He was like, "No, I'll take it for you." And then I finally was like, "All right, fine." Like I
Yep.
gave it to her. But you know, and I was walking back to my house smiling. I'm like, you know, it was just my garbage, but you know, you just think like, wow, like, you know, I don't know, you just the people are really, there's really good people out there, and that really care. I also like, you know, and I live in a townhouse, and I told you there's a little space. I'm trying to do the gardening myself to figure out if I could do it, so I'm starting with a little space. And you know, my neighbor like two doors down was like, "Oh, I'll help you figure it out," and I was like, "All right," like so. But all of that little stuff, you know, if they help me, like if we figure it out, it's going to cost me nothing. I didn't even realize like the little pebbles that, you know, when the landscaper come and this all this money, I paid $5 for the bag. I was
Right,
like, do you know what I mean? Like, so
right.
these all these little things, like that, it's just like you said, like be grateful for all of these little things because that's love. That's
It
love.
is. And it's what you put in the universe that's coming back to you. And
100%.
not to say that bad things don't happen. Bad things happen to everyone. Unforeseen circumstances
Yep.
happen to everyone. Life is always lifing. Okay.
Mhm,
Life is
mhm.
always lifing. So, but you do need to pick out the things that you need to be grateful for and have appreciation for those little moments of gratitude. And I try and I do my best, but it has worked for my mental health in a great way. So I encourage also other people to do so.
Same
Mm.
here. I feel the same way. Q, your thoughts on appreciation?
A couple of things. I really have found that in terms of, let's say, like romantic relationships, the
Mm-hmm.
more you express appreciation, and I know this works for men and women,
Uh-huh.
but I feel like it's a secret sauce as it
It
relates to
is.
men. Like the more you appreciate something, the more they want to do that thing. So I try to be very observant and appreciative and express my appreciation for something that I want more of, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know, that makes I don't mean it like as a trick. I just
No,
mean
no, no,
like
no,
I
no.
know
No,
you
you're
should
right.
express appreciation, but you're going to get back more of that because they love hearing that. They're going to want to hear
Yeah.
that. But
Uh-huh.
the other thing about appreciation is I think it's important for us to think about what it takes for people just to show up in life and do what they do.
Mm.
You know, so like when we say, you know, good show tonight, Diva, because we all love your show, you know.
Aw.
To appreciate it is like to think about all the stuff that goes into it. You have
Mm-hmm.
to select a book, like if we're just talking about this show,
Right.
select the book, you're reading the book, you have to have an idea of what you're going to talk about, you know, setting up the StreamYard thing here, all the things it takes to grow a channel in and of itself, the lighting, the sound, all of these investments that you make to make this show great that we don't even know about.
Right.
The words that are scrolling across the screen right now, you had to type that in. Like there's just so many little things like to show appreciation. So it's like a thank you for everything that you do to make us feel so at home here. We really enjoy it. This is one of our favorite
Oh.
channels, and that's the truth. But
Mhm.
thinking about what does it take? You like what does it take for a person? Um, you know, the person who checked you out at Walmart or Target, my favorite.
Right.
You know, like what did it take maybe for them to get there? The Target lady showed me how to use the Circle app. I was
Mm-hmm.
buying some batteries. Them batteries was $8.29. I was like, why the batteries cost this much? She was like, let me show you something. She did something on her phone and
Yes, you could
showed
scan
me
every item.
they ended up being $3.15.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
yeah, and she was like, would you fill out this survey thing for me? I was like, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But you know, I appreciate her. That was extra. She didn't have to do that. She could
Yep.
just stand there, let me scan my stuff and leave, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But thinking about what it took, the extra effort, despite what might be going on in her own life, to show up at work in a service position and have a good attitude in
Yes.
today's world
Ooh,
is a big deal.
it is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Shout out to Target Circle. Yes, I scan every item.
Okay.
You can scan the item and then add it to the wallet and you get that extra discount. I absolutely love it. Yeah, and then I have my red card connected to my debit card, so I get my little 5% every time. But yes, I do love Target too. I do a mixture of both of them. But you are correct. I love retail. So all through college and my first jobs, well, my very first job I think was McDonald's, but then after that I did clothing retail and I absolutely loved it. But to do that job, I've always now, as a result of working retail for a long time in my life, when I go try on clothes, I put it back on the hanger I button it up, and then I will take them things back to the rack where I found it. Unless, there's someone in the fitting room area and they're like, just leave it there, just leave. I'm like, you sure? And then I'll just leave it there. I'm like, okay. But because I worked in retail, I definitely do that, because the amount of people that will leave the clothes on the floor, leave the head, it's unbelievable. And it's like, would you do this in your home? And this is
Right.
an item that someone else may potentially have to buy, and you're just leaving it on the floor. I mean, retail, woo. I mean, I got my retail stories, but yeah. And then the people that will come unfold everything on the table, and you're asking them, can I help you find a size? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, I got to refold all that stuff. But so you're right. It's like, what did it take for people to show up? And I always, do my best to be extremely kind to people, because like you said, that's showing our appreciation when they're like, no, I'll fold it back or I'll hang it back up or whatever, because they're human too and they got a lot to do. So yeah. Woo. But yes. In my opinion, what do you think about the appreciation piece?
Well, let me tell you something, Diva. Sometimes I feel like I be wearing you out with telling you how much I'm thankful for you and how grateful I am for you. And let me tell you, and then sometimes I'm like, no, because let me tell you something. When I came in rough. And you and Miss Sherelle, boy, y'all wrapped your arms around me like, listen, okay, it's gonna be all right, and I'm telling you, like, since then, I felt like we've grown this really cool, I don't know, sisterhood relationship or whatever. And I feel like I talk to you about anything. So, I just want to let you know I appreciate you for always being there, for opening up your heart, your life, your soul. Let me tell you something. Me and Diva had a whole lot of talk. But I'm just telling you, she is the sweetest, most amazing person I've ever met on this app. Like, for real, for real. Like, she cares about, she take time out if she's busy. She be like, look, I'm busy right now. I'm gonna call you right back. She doesn't forget. Like, I'm just saying that's the type of woman you are. So I just want you to know that everything that you do, it is not going unnoticed. I do appreciate you because I know it takes a lot to talk to all of us with our different attitudes, problems, whatever. Like to put that on you, and then you still had your son you had to deal with too. So yes, I really appreciate you. But listen, this is the thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes people forget that in appreciation is also gratitude.
Mm.
And somebody can't be grateful and unhappy at the same time and appreciate somebody. So you have to remember that in all things you got to get an understanding. You got to know yourself and you got to love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, it's no way in the world you can go out and love somebody else. If you're broken from on the outside or the inside, it's gonna show. And so I am so grateful that all the people that I've met that I talk to have been so amazing to me because sometimes I have to, check myself or I have to get another opinion. And it's like, since this whole, whatever happened, I haven't been able to go out because I have COPD. So I can't be out in that atmosphere. So this has brought a lot of life into me that I didn't know I needed. You know what I'm saying? So I am appreciative of everybody. Leo, you too, honey. You know. But I just really want you
You
to
too
understand
appreciate.
that
I appreciate you too.
we have to really love each other and we have to learn to accept people for who they are and not only that, appreciate what they can and can't do.
Yeah.
Because everybody can't meet you that same place you at. Like
That's
if they
true.
can only meet you a little bit, appreciate that little bit because it might have took a lot for them to get there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Thank you, in my opinion, and love you back. And listen, the same thing y'all say, I do for y'all, y'all do for me. And I enjoy coming up here and having the shows and getting information from y'all and having these amazing conversations. Dustin, what do you think about appreciation?
As always, very much, and
Yes.
I always appreciate you being on the panel. On the panel. I'm gonna say this real quick.
Mhm.
When I first joined the panel, I think it was early this year, last year.
Mhm.
He lifted me up out of that spot, and
Dustin, you're going in and out for me. Um, all right, so let me read Gwendolyn's comment while maybe Dustin is fixing his sound. He said, she said, when I was 4 or 5, my daddy became an alcoholic. Then that is when his childhood pain and brokenness of life lessons started. He did not know that there was a difference between discipline and abuse. He loved me. Yeah. Sam and Sonya's there. Sonya came back from Howard. Okay, no problem. All right, babe. Love you, Mom. Love you back. All right, so yeah, and this is very unfortunate too, right? When children have parents that have some type of addiction, um, it's rough. It's rough. And Gwendolyn, I don't know, maybe hopefully, I don't know if your dad recovered sometime during your childhood, but sorry you went through that. But I will say at least you recognize that he did love you. Um, One of the things I immediately loved about your show was how much you engage with the people in the chat. It's like we're all on the panel. Oh, I'm glad you feel that way. I do try. So listen, guys, I don't even know how to give away this book. All right. But if you want the book, remember it's not going to be my copy. I'm giving you a fresh, brand new copy. You want the book, throw in the chat that you want the book. Actually, you know what? Email me. Let me put my email address in there, in the chat here. Email me, and I will figure out who I will give this book away to, and I will make the announcement. So, did I even spell my own name right? My own email right? I hope I did. Okay, so guys, email me, and if you want this book, and I will figure out who we're going to give a fresh new copy of this book to. It's an amazing book. You will not be disappointed, and you can go back to it over and over again. Rebels 42 Win said, I wholeheartedly appreciate the entire panel for making me smile in content, especially Diva for accepting me to be a part of a very loving, caring family, and my faith in my daughter too. Amen, Rebels. We appreciate you. Listen, guys, I really enjoyed this book. I'm going to give you the announcement. Haven't picked it out yet what our next book is going to be, but I want to say I got to double check my dates. But I want to say maybe it's next Sunday or next weekend. But I have a gentleman that he wrote a book. I read his book. He also gave me a copy of his book to give away, where we will give away on his interview. But he talks about his journey of accepting himself and his sexuality and how he came to that acceptance, right? But he had a lot he went through. The drugs, the alcohol. He had a daughter. He had, his baby mother, I'm gonna say, but he was in a relationship with her for a very long time. But during that relationship too, he came to find out that he was gay, and he had to deal with all of those dynamics, right? So he had to deal with all of that, like his journey of becoming who he truly was, so to speak. And don't choke me up if I'm not using the right words, but he had to go through that journey. Go through the journey also of telling, his daughter's mother, like, this is who I am. It was a lot. And they was together for a long time. And he was in the music industry. And he's a hairstylist. I mean, he has a story to tell. And it's a very interesting story. And we're going to have a chat with him. Oh, I'm glad y'all love the book club. Thank y'all for being here for the book club, right? So if you have any next book suggestions that will translate well of us just having the discussion, live like this, send me the book in an email, and I will look into it, and I will see if it will translate with us reading it together, so to speak, and talking about it, live on one of the shows. But listen, guys, happy Saturday to all of y'all. Happy holiday, Labor Day weekend. Yes. Spend time with the family. Enjoy every moment. I really do appreciate y'all being here. Okay, again, this is it.
Hey, Diva.
Yes.
We gonna be on the train on Monday.
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah. I'm not going away. We're gonna be on the train on Monday. Yes.
I know that's right, opinion. I know that's right.
I'm gonna drop the boy back off at school, but yes, the train is pulling out on Monday. So listen, guys, I truly, especially, you know what, in my opinion, because they are showing part 1 this weekend, which I'm kind of shocked of the reunion for Roa.
I'm not, because they know they done set this thing up, and it better be good, because the clip they showed us look better than the episode, so we gotta hope and pray.
I know we gotta hope and pray, but yeah, they are showing it on Sunday, so I will be watching. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for being here. Have a good night, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Remember, email me if you want this book. Bye, guys.